Hey guys, Freddy here. Welcome back to another Retro Adventures, and this time I'm going to be looking at this, the Misty Isles, which came out from the Wee Warriors in 1977, and is the third of three adventures they published for Dungeons & Dragons, the first being The Palace of the Vampire Queen, and the second being The Dwarven Glory, both of which we've covered previously on the channel. Now, Palace of the Vampire Queen was a very simplistic adventure which reminded me of the kind of notes that I would write in the early 80s when I was just starting off dungeon mastering, where I'd write down exactly what's in the room. So there's 3 ghosts in this room and there's 500 gold pieces under the table. And I wouldn't really write anything more than that. Just very basic notes. And that's what Palace of the Vampire Queen had a lot of. Just very, very simplistic notes of the important stuff. What monsters, what treasure, and pretty much it. The Dwarven Glory, however, was a lot more detailed, but was a really interesting idea because it was a bunch of areas which you could lay out in different order as the players went questing down, and they would encounter it differently to every other group because you could lay out these map tiles, and they would encounter things in different orders as they explored this old dwarven fortress. But the descriptions themselves were far more detailed, going into exactly what's in the room, what furniture's there, what people are there, whether there's bundles of rags lay in the corner, etc., which is far more like a modern adventure. The Misty Isles is the third of these, but it's not really an adventure, it's kind of a setting and some adventuring stuff in the style of one of the old hex crawls in like the Isle of Dread, which we've covered on the channel as well, where you're exploring a map and encountering things. But instead of Isle of Dread, where a lot of areas are unmarked and you've just got random encounters for you're travelling through forests, you're travelling over mountains, and different types of monsters you might encounter there, every single hex in the Misty Isles is mapped out with what's there, but it only goes over it in the briefest of fashions. Anyway, going into it. Dungeon Masters Kit number 3, The Misty Isles, Wee Warriors production. Copyright 1977, produced by Pete and Judy Keristan. Cover work Morno. Use of kit. The Misty Isles describes persons and events on an island chain. While not particularly rich in material items, provides adventure and interrelated intrigue for fantasy gamers. Main items, people, events are listed for each hex. We've got the movement there, the different features. The maps will come very late in the booklet. And we go straight into descriptions of the islands. So we've got the Dwarvish Isle of Outcasts. Long has the Isle of Outcast dwarfs existed in the isle chain. First established by dwarf traders, it grew to expand into an empire, taking all the islands of the chain. As all things must, the Dwarven Glory, as it was known, fell due to inner quarrelling of the dwarf princesses, as well as the arms of the invading races. Dwarfs of the island of Baelor have little to do with the outcasts, due to the excessive violence to which they have given over since the decline of the empire. And it gives us information, so we've got Enoch, the leader of Gaith, is on constant guard. And then we've got another one. We've got the Isle of the Warring Wizards. This island was once used to study the magical arts. Then one day a struggle between 2 magical factions, one who sought to open the portals to the forces of evil, another who constantly struggles to keep those powers in check and not disbalance the fabric of the world. The island is charged with magic, both good and evil. We've got the leader of the lawful force, Sung, and the head of the evil magic users is a female called Shana. And some information about them. The Isle of the Non-Humans. Perhaps the most unknown of the islands in the chain is this. Talks about, legend speaks of beings most warlike in battle were killed without emotion. The Island of Beauty and Death, an island of beautiful plants and sparkling brooks, controlled by large tripid plants, which I believe are supposed to be like triffids, I guess. It seems a bit odd, it seems more like tripod in its pronunciation, but large tripid plants, which seem to be somewhat intelligent, as we find out later. The Isle of She Who Holds the Stone, an island steeped in mystery. One who holds the stone is rumored to be a wizardess of great power. The Isle of the Despoilers, a most foul and dismal isle, home once for proud dwarf warriors, present inhabited by a mixed lot of bandits, pirates, slavers, thieves, etc. The Isle of the Priest. Revered for its beauty, the island of the priest exists as a place of refuge and holiness for many different orders of priests. the island of Baylor, the largest island, which has the city of Arto, which is where the Palace of the Vampire Queen starts off, because you're looking for the Dwarven Lord's kidnapped daughter, and it kind of lays into that. Even King Armand's daughter has been stolen from the Arto only a short time earlier. The king would pay well to be rid of this source of trouble. So the Palace of the Vampire Queen hooks in here. The island of Mortok. Up until a year ago was the home of She Who Holds the Stone. After Mortok was repulsed from the island of Baylor, he turned there to reform his forces. And that's the islands. And then we've got descriptions of what's in each hex. We'll come to the maps later. As I said, they're about the last thing in it. But it describes what's in each hex. So hex 1 is empty. Hex 2, spell guards this hex, which will cause a repulsion to any vessel trying to enter the hex. No entry of the island can be made from or through this hex. And there's some interesting stuff. You know, a giant stone triceratops able to withstand 50 points of damage, acts as an animated guard. Magic will not affect it. Entrance to the underground of She Who Holds the Stone. A giant steel grey dragon guards the entrance. It has the power of magnetic attraction and repulsion. All steel is affected by this power. Impervious to attack, it may be countered by Dispel Magic or Magic Shield. A ship entering this area will cause long-dead bones of drowned seamen to rise up and board the ship. And this is where we see how many enemies these involve, because they're large areas. You're exploring fairly massive islands with cities on them. So, a fleet of ships is outfitted for movement. They are 27 FASA raider ships, with a total of 100 great orcs bearing sword and mace, wearing leather armour. All are second-class warriors with one third-level commander in charge. 135 goblin archers wearing light leather jerkins, all of first-level experience. They are awaiting the remainder of the fleet, which will arrive with reinforcements. Number of ships 1 to 100, random roll, with 40 orc crew per ship. So potentially 4,000 orcs can turn up. Mortok has 300 great orcs with 500 goblin archers, 20 wolf riders and 25 riders, 100 great orcs of first level, 40 goblin archers and 20 wolf riders. The island of non-humans. This is a referee anything goes island, founded by peoples and things from outer space. It can be shaped to the game master's liking and personal taste. If the game is played without a games master, treat this island as it was deserted, or use a random encounter table as if the aliens have blasted off and the island is up for grabs. Thus just about anything can be found. This seems like a bit of a cop-out, but it does introduce the idea that aliens and space visitors are turning up in your Dungeons & Dragons campaign, which was fairly common for the time, let's be honest. We've got the island of Baylor, where we've got 3 giant leeches, we've got 4 peasants carrying firewood, the city of Moor with 17 third level and 283 second level fighters stand guard of the new city. A band of bandits, 40 strong, 4,000 second level warriors guard the city of the king. A red-robed priest quietly walks the pathway. A pack of wild white apes roam the island looking for food. These are extremely random and different encounters, but set up so it's set for when you encounter these hexes. 600 second level warriors guard the city of Corbay. A school of giant flying manta rays. 20% chance of landing on a ship. A plesiosaur with chainmail-like skin. A party of 80 orcs. 5 tripid guards and a female. They have 2 attacks with razor-like leaves and may ingest a human whole into their digestive pod. Death within 1 to 4 turns. The city of Greybeard mostly burned. The tripids have 12 warrior dupes and a captive druid in the city. Partly burned and salted area. The city of Leamoth, mostly burned. An experimental band of 30 cows, tripid dupes, will behave as cows until a chance to capture the party arises. So the tripids are disguising themselves as other things. And then off the coast we've got a small ship of 40 orcs, 39 at second level, 1 third level leader. A sea dragon with plate-lighter armour. And dangerous reefs, a long ship with 89 second level fighters. The 30 bows and 150 arrows on board. The stronghold city of Kelly the Cutthroat. What else we got here? A thick forest area. A bandit village led by Nick No-Nose. Stronghold of the strongest leader of this island, Captain Spit and Chew. A beautiful young girl, actually a succubus, seeks the aid of the party to go to the Isle of Wizards and kill the keeper of the gate. Pirate village of Ernie Ironfist. Then we've got the Isle of Wizards, spelt with two Z's. Isn't that the way Rincewind spells it on his hat in the Discworld novels? Marshland area of many snakes. Bogs and quicksand, group of warrior magic users from the city of Sung. City of the Gate, with a treasury of 100,000 gold pieces. You know, there's so much information in here, but it's such broad strokes. We're getting a couple of paragraphs here describing the entire city, and we're going into how much money's in the treasury, how many guards there are. The city vaults are 173 magical weapons, 310 scrolls, and 86 magic items. Random roll for characteristics. Anyway, carrying on, 10 skeletons. A trading centre recently established by the city of Corbay. The village of Ceaseless Dying, magically cursed. The city of the old gods. Forbidding swamp of quicksand pits and disease. A very old man, a god in disguise, wearily stumbles on under a very heavy burden. If attacked, treat as the god Zeus and teach the attacker what it means. Male clinging to floating driftwood. The city of Year. 30 mermen with fragments and nets. And then we've got the island of Dwarven Outcasts. What seems a little odd is the descriptions aren't in the same order as these tables. I would have thought that we would have encountered each so we could easily find them, but they are mixed up slightly. Anyway, we've got the hulk of a once proud city, ruined city of Chainmail Charlie, a dwarf in plate armour challenges all to a friendly joust, a ship bearing the marks of Baelor, ship is manned by 82nd level dwarfs. We've got advert for different products produced by Wee Warrior, including their Endless Dungeon, a set of dungeon tiles you could lay out to create a perpetually increasing dungeon, which is quite cool. Space for notes, and then we've got the tables. Now, if I can flip this round, we can see the Isle of Non-Humans. The island of She Who Holds. And as I said, all the hexes are numbered out, matching up to those tables we've just been looking through. The island of Baelor, with the cities in different hexes. The Isle of Wizards. Mortok Island. The Isle of Despoilers. The Isle of Priests. Tripid Isle. The Isle of Outcast Dwarves. And then the back cover. If I flick back. So, that is it. That is the Misty Isles. It's quite an interesting attempt, but it just seems such in broad strokes. It's 51 pages long, including the back cover, the advertising page, and the front cover. So, in realistic terms, only 48 pages of actual information. But it's covering all these islands, there's massive cities, there's all these heroes, there's no stats. It's just such broad strokes for a setting. But I do find it quite interesting and compelling. I think you could come up with quite a few ideas from this very quickly. It's sad that it wasn't allowed the space and time to be developed and create a really interesting setting which could have kept being used to this day, with the Dwarven glory, the fallen dwarf empire, the people who are picking up the pieces, battles between wizards and all that kind of thing going on these individual islands. I think it could have made a very interesting setting, but alas, it's gone in the mists of time. But anyway, I think I've been wittering on for quite long enough as usual, so thank you very much for watching. But as always, most of all, you look after yourselves. I'll catch you later. Bye now.